Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. My name is Hazrat Bilal, Coordinator, Department of Education, Sarhad University of Science and Information Technology. Dear students, as you know, today is our 5th lecture of the subject General Methods of Teaching. As you know that in previous class we discussed something different methods of teaching. We discussed something about deductive method and we discussed something about the inductive methods as well. Today the topic which we need to discuss, that is problem solving approach in teaching. Now what we mean from the problem solving approach in teaching? As we know that in a particular class there are different teachers which are teaching different types of subjects, science subjects, art subject. Now the teaching pattern of each and every subject is different from others. For example, if a teacher wants to teach English language, so the teaching of English is different from that of Urdu. Similarly, teaching of Urdu is different from teaching of mathematics. Similarly, teaching of Islamiyat is different from teaching of biology, physics, chemistry. In every particular case, the teacher needs to consider different methods because the nature of the subjects are different. So for different nature of subjects, the nature of teaching methodology should also be different. If you consider art subjects, so yes, traditional methods can be acceptable. But if you consider the science subjects, so science subjects are considered as more technical compared with art subjects. It is because of formula derivations, lab work, equation solutions and lots of other different things which are mostly depends upon technological instruments. That's why the teaching of science subject having completely different scenario as that of art subject. Same is the case with the problem solving approach in teaching. Problem solving approach in teaching is that type of approach through which we need to create the problem solving abilities among the students, so that the student could become able that they could solve their problems. Solve your problem does not mean to solve a mathematics question. Problem solution we means to solve the problem based on their knowledge in real life. They must be that much sharp, they must be that much intellectual, so that they could solve their problems. Now the solution of the problems refers to some kinds of scientific subjects, some science subjects, because these are the subjects which are mostly research based subjects. Research based subject we mean that you need to think, you need to conduct experiment, then you need to go for conclusion, and then that conclusion then need to be converted into some written work. Meaning to say that in problem solving approach we need to move from research work, experimental work to some written works, to some theory. It is not the process that we need to move from theory to some experimental work. No, it is a process in which we move from experiments to theory. First we need to conduct certain research, conduct certain experiments, then the outcomes of those experiments should be in written form. It is that problem solving approach is that approach in which the teacher trying to create that type of ability or develop that type of ability among the students, so that they could become able to solve their real life problems as well based on their intellectual abilities. Anyhow, we are moving toward certain science subjects. The science subject is one of the important subjects in school education. It is important for the reason that it developing the IQ abilities of the students. However, really the traditional teaching methods are changed for their inability to foster critical thinking, holistic learning environment among children. However, really the traditional teaching methods are challenged for their inability to foster critical thinking, holistic learning environment among children. If you consider the old traditional methods, sometimes they become unable, they become incompatible to create critical thinking and holistic learning environment among the students. It means that the old traditional methods are not that much suitable, so that they could create sharpness among the students. They are unable. Why? Because if you consider the latest teaching methodologies, they are based on proper research work. Certain research are conducting upon the mentality of the students, minds of the student, work pattern, curriculum, and then they develop different methods. That these are the methods which are highly appreciable for development of learning abilities among the students. If we ignore all those traditional methods and follow the latest technological or equipment through which we are delivering knowledge to the students, so it is possible for us that we could promote the learning abilities of the student, we can foster the critical thinking of the students. The science subject must develop science process skills where children observe, measure, classify, process information, interpret, think on solving problems, analyze, synthesize and formulate conclusions. These science subjects, as these are scientific in nature, of course, the science subject, these are experimental in nature. The student need to conduct different research upon it. The student need to conduct lab work, experiments. They must have the ability to observe the situation, measure the situation, classify the situation, process the available information which they are getting through their observation, measurement and classification and then they have to formulate certain conclusions. That is why the science subject, they are competent to promote critical thinking abilities among the students. Also, problem solving is it should be very real part of the curriculum. This should be very real part of the curriculum, important part of the curriculum. Why it is important? It is important for different reasons. Number one, it creating a peace of mind among the students to observe something, to analyze something, to evaluate the solution, to think about a scenario, to find out different alternative solutions and then come towards conclusion. That is why it should be a very important part of the curriculum. It presupposes that students can take on some of the responsibilities for their own learning. Every time teachers are not available with students. The teacher need just to develop a mentality for the student that yes, these are the ways through which you can learn a lot, through which you can learn more. These are the suitable study hours, these are the suitable time durations to study this particular subject. How much time you need to offer for a particular subject so that you could cover a chapter or a topic. The teacher just advised you, but after this the student need to take certain responsibilities, to develop their own study habits, to cut themselves from other extracurricular activities, to specify certain time for study. to control their emotions, to control their activities, and focus only upon their subjects, their studies. So, these are certain responsibilities which the student must accept, which the student must take to develop their own study habits and take personal action to solve problems and focus on thinking as a vital element of the curriculum. It is important. If you consider some student, they don't know the logical background of a particular question, they don't know the logical background of a particular equation, they are just memorizing the question, memorizing the topic without knowing its real life applications. They just want to memorize the things for the sake of achieving grades, for the sake of achieving good marks, but they don't know from where this equation comes, what are the research work, what are the experimental work, what are its real life applications, why we are using this particular equation in a particular situation. For those students, if the situations are a little bit clear, take the example of the physics. For example, different equations are there. One equation fit with one particular situation. If we slightly bring changes in the numerical data of the question, the student didn't get confused. What particular equation should we use? Because they are just memorizing, because these are the students which are just memorizing the topics, memorizing the questions without knowing its logical background, without knowing its application where we need to put this particular equation. So, then those students are facing lots of problems if they are appearing for ETA test, if they are appearing for GATE subject test or GATE general test, or for some entry test in some other standard colleges. Then these are the students which are facing problems. That is why it is better that the student should also take responsibility to develop their problem solving skills, to think critically, think logically, and derive certain solution based on their thinking. It provides students with opportunities to use their newly acquired knowledge and assist them in working at higher levels of thinking, as we discussed earlier in our previous classes. We discussed something about the higher order thinking skills that the students need to develop their hearts, higher order thinking skills they need to develop. Why they need to develop? Because these are the skills, if higher order thinking skills are developed, it will help the student to think critically, to think rationally, to think logically, to acquire new knowledge about a particular topic. It is compulsory that their higher order thinking skills should be developed. If they are not focusing upon higher order thinking skills, so other student will go more forward in competition. They will become more competitive, while this particular student will become very less competitive. It is better to work upon higher levels of thinking. Relate your work, relate your thinking with your topics. Think logically, rationally. These are the ways which provide opportunities to the students to move forward and to face more competitive situation. Now, what is the meaning and definition of problem solving methods? If we consider the problem solving methods, so in a problem solving method, children learn by working on problems. They are learning by working on a problem. How? It is related to different things. If we consider the experiments, let us suppose take the example of the physics experiment. We need to find the value of capital G gravitational, the value of gravitational constant. So, you will learn by heart only if you visit the lab and derive that particular value by yourself. If you consider the value of gravitational acceleration. It is possible only if you visit the lab and derive the same value by yourself. If you are ignoring lab work, experimental work, problem solving work, then it is not possible for you to move ahead in every field of life. Also, children learn by working on a problem. Again, I am repeating the same statement, but now I am moving towards another example. These are the subjects, science subjects, which not only develop your skills related to science subject, but developing your skills in your general life as well. How? If a student is unable to develop their study habits, first of all, the student needs to think, why I am unable to develop my study habits? My other friends can do. The student need to think about their curriculum. The student need to think about their available material of teaching, a study material. The student need to think about their books. The student need to think about suitable time. What is the suitable time for the study and what I am doing in that particular time. So, this is some certain observation which the student need to consider. So, the skills of this observation, it is because of that problem solving approach. This enables the students to learn new knowledge by facing the problem to be solved. After all this observation, now the student will consider, the student will come towards a more narrow position, that okay, I have to remove this activity from my routine activities, remove this activity from my other routine work. So, I have certain time. So, based on observations, based on this thinking, the student now become able to have certain time for their studies. If the student facing problem, the student need to think for the solution of that particular problem. And to think for a particular problem, to develop this ability of thinking to solve a particular problem, it is the part of problem solving approach. The students are expected to observe, understand, analyze, interpret, find solutions and perform applications that lead to a holistic understanding of the concept. When the student go for all these things, at the end the student will be able that yes, these are the suitable ways through which we can study a lot, we can memorize the things a lot, we can develop our study habits, and the same thing he or she can advise to other people as well, that based on my own work, based on my own experiment, based on the problem which I faced, these are the suitable solutions for that problem and these are the ways through which we can develop our study habits. This method develops scientific process skills, as we discussed, that the ability of observations, the ability of thinking, the ability of judgment, the ability of evaluation, the ability of measurement, and then come towards conclusion. This is a scientific process, that you are performing your activity step by step, and from step by step activities you are coming towards conclusion, and that conclusion must be related to your real life activities. This method helps in developing brainstorming approach to learning concept. One student will best suited with one set of activities through which they are developing their study habits. You as a student, your nature is different, your financial position is different, the facilities available at your home that are different, the educational background of your family is different. So, you may develop your own sets of habits, your own sets of activities through which you can develop your study habits. As problems are different from person to person, from students to student, that is why problem solving methods should also be different from student to student, from person to person, from family to family. The students' thinking on problem and their understanding of the science behind it is based on common sense. We have to consider our common sense, develop our common sense. If one of my friends can study a lot, can gain excellent grade, why I can't? I have to think. I have to observe my friend, his behavior, his study habits, his attention during the lecture, his class participation, his presentation, his quiz, his assignments, his question answer sessions among the students, his group activity, his project works. I have to observe, I have to judge, and then I have to evaluate myself. All these are the activities of common sense, that if my friend can move ahead, why I can't? So, why I can't? I need to think, I need to judge, I need to evaluate, I need to understand. All these things are based on our common senses. It does not start from textual work, from textual knowledge. As we discussed, that it is not the process that we are moving from theory to practical, it is the process that we are moving from practical to theory. It does not start from textual knowledge. It is certain experimental work. As problems are different, situations are different, learning abilities are different, it is better to evaluate yourself by your own method. For every different student, there are not different approaches, there are not different research works. Something we need to develop based on our own common senses. Every research work never sits best, never suit with every nature of students. Concepts are different, learning abilities are different, talents are different, class environments are different, family environments are different, nature of problems are different. So, how one set of solution becomes suitable for the whole class? Every student needs to develop their own common sense. Rather, it proceeds from experiencing to gradually forming concept through books at later stage. Later on, you may study, you may consider books related to similar thinking, your similar research work. After that, you will be able to find out more better ways, more alternative solutions for a problem which you are facing. It is a process from practice to theory, not vice versa. As we discussed, it is a process from practice to theory, from experiment to theory, from practical work to theory. Knowledge is here not a goal, but a natural outcome of working on task. You are working upon a particular problem, you are working upon a particular issue, so that is not the goal, that you are getting knowledge. That you are getting knowledge, that is not the goal. The goal is there to solve the problem. To solve the problem, you have to a natural outcome of working on task. What outcome you have, what are its implementation, what are its application, why, where we use that particular outcomes in our daily life. We know students' life, a student live in the real world and like to deal with concrete things where they can touch, feel, manipulate things. Then the method is useful in igniting the process of science learning. As Allah given lots of different qualities to a human being, that qualities are the qualities of touch, the qualities of feel, to manipulate the things, observation, thinking skill, brainstorming abilities. So, its utilization, that is important. Their utilization, that is important. If you are facing a problem, and still you are not thinking upon it, still you are not working upon it, it means you are not going to utilize those qualities which are God gifted. It is better to highlight all those abilities which we have and work for its practical implementation. A problem solving is a task for which problem solving may be a purely mental difficulty, or it may be physical and involve manipulation of data. So, it is a process which needs lots of thinking, because it is a mental difficulty which we can say if you are unable to think about a particular problem or to solve a suitable solution for ourselves. Let us suppose if a student belongs to very low income level family whose income or financial status are very low, but the student have lots of guts of moving ahead. Student is very bright, very talented. So, the student at least think that yes, we are too poor, we are unable to support or pay high fees. What we need to do? That particular student must think that what are other suitable ways of scholarships are available. So, the students need to work hard, achieve excellent grades. Lots of colleges will welcome that particular students. Lots of scholarships are waiting for those particular people. Lots of financial supports are waiting for those particular students. We have these types of intellectual abilities. The thing is that to develop these skills, the person confronting it wants or need to find a solution because the person has no readily available procedure for finding the solution. Every time you have to focus upon your work, every time you have to have a look about your surroundings. What are available in our surrounding? What are their benefits for me? What are my benefits for them? The person must make an attempt to find a solution, at least an attempt. If you are unable to achieve excellent grades, your other friends can do. If your handwriting is not pretty good, your classmates having very stylish handwriting, they are learning a topic within 30 minutes, you are learning a topic within 1 hour, 2 hours. Why it is so? You need to think upon it. What are their study habits? What are their pattern? Which types of groups they are joining, so that they are mentally sharp, they are active. So, the person must make an attempt to find a solution. An attempt is compulsory, an attempt is necessary. So, problem solving is the act of defining a problem. First of all, if you are in a puzzle situation, you do not know what to do, first of all identify a problem. What are the problems based on which you are in puzzle? Then determine the cause of that problem. Why I am why I am in this problem? Why I am facing this problem? What are the reasons that I am in this problem? Identifying and prioritizing and selecting alternatives for a solution. What are your priorities? How to tackle with this problem? How to overcome this problem? How to move towards a more better solution? What are other alternative ways? What are other alternative solutions that I could work a lot, that I could study hard, that I could achieve excellent grade, that I could take admission in a more better college, more better university? So, these are the things for which we need to think. Problem solving method aims at presenting the knowledge to be learned in the form of a problem. The knowledge which you are getting in the shape of a problem, you are facing a problem, you are working on the problem, you are developing alternative solution for a problem, and the knowledge which you are getting, that knowledge came from problem solving approaches. So, that is a problem, that is the knowledge which you learn from a real life problem. So, this is the knowledge which will be long lasting. You perform this activity through your own research work, through your own thinking ability. So, you are become a master of yourself, because you are getting knowledge through your own hard effort. It begins with a problematic situation and consists of continuous, meaningful, well integrated activity. You take a start from a problem, consider a problem, work upon it, analyze the situation, and then find out some meaningful solution. So, all these things are the part of an integrated activity. You are combining the activities, you are linking the activities with one another, and finally you are succeeded to achieve your desired outcomes and you solve the problems. The problems are tested to the student in a natural way, and it is ensured that the students are genuinely interested to solve them. For example, you are a teacher, and as a teacher you are delivering a lecture. As you are delivering a lecture to your students, but your students are unable to pick your words. They are unable to understand your words, understand your teaching methodology. What you need to do? Maybe there are certain communication gaps, maybe certain linguistic barriers, maybe you are adopting a very high level of teaching methodology. That's why the students are unable to catch your words. In this case, the teacher need to think about a problem solving activity. The teacher need to design groups. Students should be adjusted in groups, and they are free to discuss whatever problem they have among themselves. If there is a group of 5 to 6 students, every student will share their own experiences to solve that particular problem. Every student will share their own knowledge, their own practical work to solve that particular problem, how to learn a topic. They will discuss the topic in their own traditional words. They will discuss the topic in a way which is more suitable for other group members. Finally, a time will reach that within no time the student will have a clear mind about that particular question, about that particular topic. So, let us see, this is the knowledge which they learn. They come after a practical task. The teacher took initiative, the student took interest, and the problem is solved now. So, problem solving may be a purely mental difficulty, or it may be a physical and involved manipulation of data. Problem solving is the ability to identify and solve problems by applying appropriate skills systematically. You have to applying your appropriate skills systematically. Only it is possible for you to solve a problem. Only it will become possible for you to gain extra knowledge, relevant knowledge, long lasting knowledge. So, it is better that the student should develop habits that they could be able to solve their problems by themselves. Now, we are moving towards certain objectives of the problem solving methods. That what are some specific objectives of this particular method. Objective number 1, willingness to try problems and improve their perseverance when solving problems. Whenever your problem is solved, whenever you are solving a problem, it's better that you need to show your interest. And to show interest, it is necessary because these are the problems which you are facing in your real life, because of which you are in puzzle, because of which you are in trouble. So, it's better that the student must show certain willingness to solve that particular interest while solving a particular method. Improve student self concept with respect to the abilities to solve the problems. Development of self concept, brainstorming approaches, higher order thinking skills. It's necessary to improve whenever you are solving a problem, and if you don't have higher order thinking skills ability, brainstorming ability, then you can't solve that particular problem. So, this problem solving approach, it improves these learning abilities of the students. Make students aware of the problem solving strategies. What are the techniques, what are the strategies through which you can solve the problem. Let us suppose certain students are unable to come in front of the students and deliver a presentation. They are facing lots of problems. The teacher need to explain the tips of presentations, guidelines for presentations. To follow these guidelines, you will be able to present your topic very easily. So, make people aware of the problem solving strategies, that what are the strategies through which you can solve a problem. It is better to understand, and make pupils aware of the value of approaching problem solving in a systematic manner. What are the step by step process, step by step activity which you need to consider while solving a particular problem, solving a particular issue. Make students aware that many problems can be solved in more than one way. Just like we discussed the problem of presentation. So, the same problem can be solved through different methods. How? Number one, first we need to give certain guidelines. While following that guidelines, your problem will be solved and you will be able to deliver your presentation. Second, if you have certain communication barrier with your curriculum language, just like which is English language, let us suppose. So, the teacher need to give them a chance to present your presentation in Urdu language or your traditional language. To some extent, his skills and abilities will be developed. Another method, if a student feeling certain shyness that no, I am unable to present my topic in front of this crowded class, reduce the number of students. That student need to provide their presentation, deliver their presentation to only a few students. Step by step their skills will be get developed. If the student is unable to give presentation because of the question answer sessions at the end, stop the audience, do not ask any question, so that step by step the abilities and skills of this presenter will be developed. So, lots of different alternative solutions are available. So, that is why there are different problems which can be solved through more than one way. Okay. Now, improve students' ability to select appropriate solution strategies. Yes, we discussed. Improve pupils' ability to implement solution strategies accurately. The tips which we discussed, the strategies which we discussed, they need to implement it accurately. And also improve students' ability to get more correct answers to the problem. As there are different solutions, there are alternative solutions. Lots of alternative solutions are available over there. As lots of alternative solutions are there, so for every alternative solution, the student need to give correct answer, that this is another option through which we can solve the problem, this one is another option. So, it is better to consider all these things. Now, there are few tips for effective use of problem solving method. What are the tips through which we can solve a problem? So, a few tips are available. The first one is ask questions and make suggestions. For example, ask student to predict what would happen if, give them a scenario, give them a type of imagine a situation, and based on imagination develop a scenario and present it in front of the students, or explain why something happened. Give certain story type situations, create a problem over there and then allow the students to solve that particular problem. This will help them to develop analytical and deductive thinking skills, because they will move towards a conclusion. As they are moving towards the conclusion, so their deductive thinking skills will also be developed. And do this by providing positive reinforcement to let students know when they have mastered a new concept or skills. Give them some encouragement, give them some motivation, that yes, they are going to become a master of a particular ability, of a particular skills. So, certain appreciations are there. Also, this is the method which helps the student to understand the problem. In order to solve problem, students need to define the end goal. Students need to define the end goal, what are the end goal, what are the end objectives, what are its benefits for me, what are its benefits for others. If you succeed at helping students answer the questions what and why, finding the answer to how will be easier. If you gain success to give answer of the questions just like what, just like why, then you will be able, and then it will become very easy for you to answer the questions related to how it's happened. So this is a certain logical things which the student need to consider. If you become able to answer for the questions, start with what, start with why, then you will be able to answer the question start with how. Why? Because these are a type of elaboratory questions. You have to elaborate your work, you have to explain your idea, explain your work, explain your process and procedure. So these are the skills which are giving lots of benefits, lots of support to the student. Certain time the student will perform certain errors. That errors are a type of opportunities for you to move ahead. Learn from your mistake, learn from your errors. You will be able to become more perfect with the passage of time. So these are the best ways, best guidelines through which you can move ahead in your practical life. Also, whenever you are solving a particular problem, discussing a particular problem, evaluating a particular problem, take enough time, as much time you want you can take, but think rationally, think logically, work based on strategies, develop strategies for that particular case. Dealing with questions from you and your students, making, finding and fixing mistakes and solving entire problems in a single session. The problem which is highlighted, try to solve it on the spot. Don't give lots of time, otherwise lots of complexities will be created. It's better to work upon it. Also, teach with a specific context. Teach with a specific context. Teach problem solving skills in the context in which they will be used. The guidelines if you are giving to the students, that guidelines should be also step by step, that should be systematic, and instruct the student that you have to follow the same instructions as per defined strategies. So, do not teach problem solving as an independent abstract skills. It is something for which the student need lots of guidance. So, there is a proper researcher whose name is Armrod. In 2008, that person gave a statement that there are many problems throughout the world, some that are very simplistic while others are very complicated with many details. In order to be an effective problem solver, a person has to have the ability to use prior problem solving skills on problems in the existing future. A very nice and very impressive statement, that if you feel that in future you are facing a problem, so you must have prior problem solving skills, that before arising the problem you have to finish the problem, solve the problem, so that you may not face any particular barriers. So, this is a very, very logical statement based upon his research work, based upon his experiments and based upon his thinking skills. So, dear students, it was all about our today's lecture, in which we discussed something about the problem solving approaches. I hope you enjoyed our today's lecture. Inshallah, with our next lecture, which will be our lecture number 6, once again we will appear in front of you. We will have another meeting, we will have another session. Till that time, इजाज़त दीजिए. अल्लाह हाफिज़. वमा अलैना इल्लल बलाग.